and welcome back, my fairies. I am Matsurific, and we are back with Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, Season 5, Episode 17, Adoration. Good lord, is that a mouthful? But, yeah, we're back, and we have Episode 17, out of order again. Thank you, Gloob. But, yeah, so we did the trailer review yesterday, and now we've got the episode. Before we begin, I just want to apologize real quick because I am sick, unfortunately. I've got a bit of a sinus infection, so if I cough or anything, I do apologize about that. And if you're going to be joining us for a live stream later today, I will be silent. Feel free to use the command that is noted. I believe it's sick stream. Command sick stream, and also command silent stream for if you need more information, or if someone comes in and is curious why there's no one talking in the chat. That's because I will be streaming silently, but we'll be using that footage gained from that stream for our future videos, so get excited for that. As for today's episode, so if you are new to this channel, first of all, welcome. Unfortunately, I don't use clips here when talking about the show because of copyright, so instead, you're getting treated to some art to the side. And I haven't picked out which picture we'll be working on because I have a few art pieces queued up. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the art and enjoy my commentary on the latest episode. This part is actually being recorded before I've watched the episode because I like to do my reviews as me giving my first impressions of the episode. So usually we like to talk about what we already know about the episode beforehand. So we know that Sabrina's going to get akumatized. And it's most likely because she's jealous of Lila being so close to Chloe and making her feel invisible. So she gets akumatized again, and she's going to be akumatized to, instead of Miracular, she's getting akumatized as Vanisher. I did look it up, but I did have to look it up again just now because I forgot again. Miracular just stands out more. Then again, that's also the point of Vanisher. She's not supposed to stand out. But, yeah, so she's getting akumatized into Vanisher again, but she will probably have another name. I'm going to be watching the Portuguese dub, which is subtitled, so she might have a slightly different name because they usually do that, but they also have been changing the names up this season, even for akumatizations that we've seen before, so I'll probably just end up calling her Vanisher a bunch of times. Unless I get used to the new name. Who knows? But yeah, so we know that that's going to happen, and we also know that they're going to be planning a school dance, which is going to be interesting because we know that that is going to be the premise of the movie for Awakening, is that there's going to be a school dance coming up, and Marinette wants to ask out Adrian. And so yeah, that'll be kind of cool because it's like we're getting a preview for the movie, which, you know, considering the fact that we've barely gotten any previews for the movie, that's gonna be really nice to have. So we also know that we can also infer, something I forgot to mention in the trailer review, is that we can infer that Lila and Chloe are plotting to mess up Marinette's confession to Adrian. At this point, they're already a couple, but they are still struggling because of Marinette's anxiety and insecurities, with her still struggling to talk to Adrian properly. We've seen in another trailer that she'll at least be able to hold his hand, which is cute, but we also know from episode 18 that the awkwardness will finally subside, so that may happen in this episode with her finally telling him I love you. We did get a scene of her talking to him, which looked like it was from the end of the episode, where it looked like she was, you know, rushing over to his house to say, I just wanted to let you know I finally have the courage to say I love you, something along those lines. Yeah, Gloob really likes to give a lot of spoilers in the trailer. But, yeah, that's a general idea of what we are expecting from this episode. So I'm going to go ahead and stop rambling about trailer this, trailer that, and go watch the episode. So I will be right back. Okay. Well, that ending. So, I will get to that in a moment. There were some interesting things in this episode. One thing to really rejoice about, because yay, we finally got some actual queer representation in the show, and not just the inferred relationships between Julika and Rose and Mark and Nathaniel. We have an actual acknowledged lesbian ship in the show, and then they dropped an even bigger bombshell on us at the end of the episode, which just completely overshadowed that. So, yeah, we'll get to that in a bit, but first, I'm just going to say right now, if you have not watched the episode, go watch it now. Click off of this video, go watch it now, because these are some huge, monumental spoilers that I'm about to drop on you. So if you are watching reviews just to see if season 5 is worth it, or you're just watching reviews because you haven't actually been able to watch the episodes yet, but still want to enjoy the episodes, please go watch everything as much as you can. Come back even if you have to wait until the show until the show releases all the episodes up until now so you can watch everything in order. Wait and come back when you're ready, because this is a monumental spoiler that is going to shake the fandom. And also avoid the fandom like the play, because this is huge, and there is going to be spoilers all over the internet. I have already told myself that I am not going to use this as the thumbnail. I haven't decided what the thumbnail will be. It'll probably be something with Zoe, but yeah, I'll probably focus on the actual queer representation that we got in this, because that's not nearly as big as the other thing, and I'd rather spoil that than spoil the big thing at the end, which I still haven't said yet. And you're gonna have to watch till the end of this to hear me say it. Though those of you who are aware of the spoilers and have seen this episode yet probably know what I mean. And those of you who are not new to this channel, you're probably expecting me to freak out about this, because I was wrong. I was adamant against this theory for the longest time, and I was wrong. And that probably gives you a hint as to what it is, if you still don't know. If you still don't know, go watch it, please. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start talking about this episode. I am so glad Glue didn't spoil these other two moments. Thank you. So, the episode starts off just like the trailer did. They're at school. Well, no, before that we actually see Zoe with Andre up on the roof, and they're at the little secrets. I don't want to call it a cellar because it's on the roof and cellars are in the basement. But they're at the little secrets hideaway, and Zoe is getting ready to put a big secret of hers away forever. But she does end up not doing it. All we see at the beginning is that it's a picture. And we learn a little bit more about Andre and Audrey. I was trying really hard not to say Andre and Andre. Though he does need to learn to love himself. We learn a little bit more about Andre and Audrey, that the movie Solitude was actually his love letter to her. That was how he declared his love to Audrey, which is kind of sweet when you ignore the fact that it's Audrey, and man, here he deserves better than her. But I think essentially what's happening is that he's basically telling her that, he didn't get, this is one dream that, maybe you shouldn't give up right away because, I didn't give up on this dream and now I'm happily married. Well, happily is like kind of a stretch, but yeah, essentially, they basically say that solitude was his way of confessing to Audrey. And then she calls him out for a foot massage. She's like, "Coming, darling." But yeah, Zoe winds up keeping the photo out. And then we cut to the classroom where Mr. Damocles talks about how they're having an end-of-the-year school dance. And they want representatives from each class to, come together and, plan the committee. So it's basically the dance planning committee. And we get some interesting info here. So apparently Zoe's class, which is also the same class that Mark and Luca are in, they're 8th graders and not 9th graders, which does make sense for Zoe because obviously she's going to be at least a year difference in age with Chloe because that's how biology works. But for Luca, it raises a few questions because we know that Luca is in that class too. So what happened with him and Julica? Did Julica skip a grade? Or did he get held back? Because they are twins, and that's not how twins work. Unless one of them got held back or pushed up a year, that's not really how twins work. So that is actually pretty confusing. But yeah, apparently they're 8th graders and not 9th graders. But they do set that up so that we find out later on something about Zoe, but we'll touch on that when we get to it. So, Marinette and Zoe are chosen to figure out all the details and stuff for the dance, and they go up to Marinette's room to talk about, their plans and stuff, and we get a bit of a continuity error. So, Dem pointed this out to me when we were watching the episode, but they comment about how this is Zoe's first time in Marinette's room, but this is not actually her first time in Marinette's room because she was already here in Gabriel Agreste at the very end of the episode when they're talking about how successful their plan was, and the boys are showing off their comic about Marino, the clumsy waiter. And we see Zoe there. So this is not Zoe's first time in Marinette's room, but they basically use that as an excuse to show Zoe around the room so that Marinette shows off the room, and then she shows off the poster board that she has of all her pictures of Adrian for her plans and stuff. But she's like, "Oh, but I don't need this anymore because I'm done with those convoluted schemes. Hee hee hee. By the way, let me tell you about this convoluted scheme that I've cooked up to use the dance for so I can finally tell Adrian how I feel about him." So, yeah, girl, you're not as over this little habit of yours as you thought you were. But they talk, and Marinette tells Zoe about, how she is hoping that this will be like the perfect moment, the perfect magical moment for her to tell Adrian how she feels. And Zoe is, of course, cheering for her. We also get to see Marinette's dress that she's planning for the party, and my gosh, I want to draw her in this dress. It's so cute. Like, it is a really cute dress, and I hope we actually do get to see her in it. It's very different from the dress that she's been shown in for the movie, but it's still very cute. I really like it. I hope I can draw it. All those details are gonna be fun, though. I might cheat on the details, but yeah, it's very pretty. And they could continue talking, and they come up with the idea of having the dance at the Eiffel Tower. But then Marinette's like, "But, there is one problem. We have to get permission. Do you think your stepfather will be okay with that?" And Zoe's like, "Oh, yeah, no, he'd totally be okay with it. All we have to do is ask." And Oh my goodness, this next scene was amazing. We love to see this. So, when we first met Zoe, she was shy and she had no way of standing up to her sister. She just could not do it. But they go into the hotel. They walk through the front door. Marinette's like, "Wait, I thought you weren't allowed to." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm not afraid of my sister anymore." And then she walks in, and we finally get a name for the butler. His name is Armand, and I'm so glad it's not Jean anything, because that's just showing how awful and toxic Zoe is, or not Zoe, Chloe is, because she is intentionally getting this guy's name wrong. And like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that they finally gave him a name, and it's a lot better than the name they gave Adrian's bodyguard, whom I still refer to as Jorf, because his name is not an actual name. It's not a noun, it's an adverb. But I digress. So yeah, she greets Armand, and then she talks to one of the maids and calls her by her name as well. And then Chloe comes along and starts berating Zoe for how dare she come through the front door, how dare she be about to go walk up her stairs, and how dare she let Stupid Chang into her hotel. And Zoe just lets her have it. Like, this is not your home, it's our home. You do not own this place, and I can have whoever I want over. And right now, Marinette isn't even on your stairs. She isn't even on the stairs. And like oh my goodness, I've already forgotten his name and I feel bad about, Armand, there we go. There are too many A names in this series. Armand is like, would Mademoiselle like Monsieur Cuddly? And she's like, no, I don't want Mr. Cuddly. It's like, I don't care about you, Jean, whatever. And then Zoe's like, his name is Armand. It's like, just letting Zoe, oh my gosh, letting Chloe have it. Like, oh my goodness, we love to see it. And at first I'm like, yes, Plague had an effect on her. But then afterwards, she actually credits to Marinette, which I will admit, I will let Marinette have that, because yeah, she has encouraged Zoe so much throughout season 4 and 5. So yeah, I totally do see Marinette having such a huge influence on her being able to stand up to her sister, because Marinette hasn't put up with Chloe since she got her miraculous. Now, I wanted to say episode 1, but that wasn't episode 1. But anyways, yeah, so then Andre comes along and basically shuts Chloe down, and is like, because Chloe is like, I demand to see the security footage to prove Zoe, my half-sister, wrong. And Andre's like, oh, I'm sorry, but the computers are down for an update, so we can't do that. And then, oh my goodness, oh my snap, Audrey comes down the stairs, and then Chloe's like, Mommy, put my half-sister in her place. And then Audrey is basically done with Chloe's BS now, and essentially recognizing that Chloe is only looking for attention, and she basically tells her, actually, no, these aren't your stairs, they're my stairs, and you both need to get off, and you need to get off of them. You two need to stop fighting before I send you both back to New York. And it's like, yes, snap, let Chloe have it, thank you. Yes. So just Chloe getting put in her place. Absolutely. Chef's kiss. Yes, we needed that so much. And that's when Marinette is like, what happened to you, Zoe? Just a few months ago, you were so afraid of her. And Zoe's like, well, I owe it all to you, Marinette. And so then they go and talk to Andre, and they ask him about the dance, and Marinette shows him some of the sketches they have planned. And I really love this idea, They're like, for those who don't like to dance, they'll have a trampoline stretched between the pillars of the Eiffel Tower. And it's like, hey, that's actually a really cool idea, because that means that people who aren't interested in dancing but are interested in going to have fun with their friends can go and be like, yeah, we're gonna have fun because there's still something fun for us to do. And I still remember when I went with a friend of mine to his senior prom. I didn't go to my senior prom, but it was his, and we went as friends. And I do remember that there was a trampoline there, and we had so much fun on that trampoline. So yeah, I can say from experience that is actually a lot of fun having a trampoline at a school dance. Because yeah, not everybody's into dancing. But and it's also great for people who are going as just friends. So Andre approves of it, and he even comes up with this idea of filming it. Not only filming the dance, but also filming the preparation for the dance. He gets really excited about that. It's like, yes, live your dream, Andre. You deserve it. Live your dream. And then we get the egress. So Adrian, at this point, he knows that Gabriel doesn't approve of him being together with Marinette, but he's got Natalie there with him, and he knows that Natalie will stand up for him. So he asks Gabriel if he can go to the dance with Marinette, and like Gabriel had just said that, you know, they're trying out something new because of Adrian's request, and he wants to grant his son all of his desires. And then Adrian asks about the dance, and Gabriel says, no, I don't want you going. And then Natalie comes in like a boss and is like, well, I thought you were trying to grant your son all of his desires. And he's like, fine. But yeah, oh, that was awesome. It's like, yes, thank you, Natalie. And he gives Adrian permission to go to the dance. It's like, yes, thank you. But that is actually going to come back later on as well. So Gabriel then calls up Lila, and if you recall from my episode 18 review, in episode 18 he gives Lila the cold shoulder and basically shoves her off to the curb because, in his words, to her, she's failed to keep his son away from Marinette. But in this episode, he's still reaching out to her to say, hey, you know, I thought I asked you to keep Adrian away from this Marinette girl. I need you to do something about this, and she promises to do something. Well, in episode 18, he's giving her the cold shoulder, so I'm guessing that's actually due to the fact that she did fail in this episode. So that's some nice context for episode 18 that would have been nice to have when the episode came out. But, yeah, so he tells her to get in their way, and she comes up with a plan, which she then talks about with Chloe. And Chloe is, you know, venting about, oh, how dare her half of a sister talk to her like that. I'm not going to do the voice because, like I said, I'm sick right now. And this video is going to be long, not even halfway through the episode. But, yeah, so she's like, how dare she talk to me that way? And Lila's like, it's Marinette. She's the one who got her to talk to you like this. And she's like, you know, I have this plan, but it's going to involve the two of you. And it cuts out. Just for the sake of discussing the video, I'll just go ahead and talk about what their plan is. So basically, their plan is for Sabrina. She doesn't give them all of the details at this point, but the details she gives them is for Sabrina to steal a bunch of stuff and plant the stuff in Marinette's bag to frame her for theft so that she'll get expelled from school. And Sabrina is not comfortable with that because she knows it's against the law. Her father's a cop, and Chloe's basically like, yeah, well, that just means that your dad can stand up for you and get you off the hook. It's like, no, he'll be disappointed in me. This is wrong. It's illegal. And Chloe is basically like, well, you're not my friend, you're my underling, and unless you want me to demote you to punching bag, then you're gonna do what I tell you to do. Which breaks Sabrina's heart because she's like, I'm your friend, Chloe. And she's like, no, you're an underling. Which breaks Sabrina's heart. And this is where the other part of Lila's plan comes into play that she did not say in front of Sabrina, but Sabrina gets akumatized and comes back as Vanisher, which I don't think they actually did give her a new name. But she comes back as Vanisher with the dog power, which is interesting because Gabriel shouldn't know that she was Miss Hound, but he still ended up giving her the miraculous that she's used in the past and is more comfortable with. As far as we know, she's only used it once, but she still has experience with that power. But it's also like, how does Gabriel know that? Or is that just because makes it easy to steal stuff? That might be it. Like, I could see that being the reason, but it's also like, that's quite a coincidence that he's giving her the same miraculous power that she's used to using. But, yeah, so this was actually the other part of Lila's plan, was to get Sabrina akumatized first so that she could turn into Vanisher and use her invisible powers to carry out their plan, which worked out great because that's exactly how it happened. And she basically, she doesn't quite say it, but she essentially reveals to Chloe that this was also part of her plan to get Sabrina akumatized, which, you know, we hate to admit it, but yeah, it's a good plan. Lila is very devious. But the thing that we skipped to talk through that, I just wanted to get through that continuity because that's all technically one continuity. It's just that there's a whole other scene in between while Lila is explaining the plan to them. But Zoe takes Marinette up to her room and they're talking about the party and everything. And then we cut away again, but we get more of the scene. So they're talking about the party, and Zoe ends up revealing to Marinette that she actually has feelings for somebody, but that person has feelings for somebody else, so she hasn't said anything about it. And also that it won't matter because in 2 weeks she won't see them anymore. So Marinette pieces that together as, ooh, it's a 9th grader then? Which tells us that there are 2 weeks left of the school year at this point. So, we already know that we're reaching the end of the season because this is episode 17 of 27. Well, I guess we do have, 10 more episodes after this, but 2 of them are the 2-parter, which are going to be the final battle, and then the final episode is basically just a bonus. But, yeah. So, yeah, they talk about how this is, Zoe's last chance to tell the person that she loves how she feels, and Marinette tries to encourage her, and Zoe's like, yeah, but they already love someone else, and Marinette assumes the gender of the person, which I will admit is actually something kind of common. That's because, with society the way that it is, most people think, oh, a girl has a crush on somebody, so it's probably a boy, which I do wish they could have talked a bit more about that, but this episode had so much going on in it that I can't quite blame them for not calling her out on assuming the person's gender and assuming Zoe's sexuality. But yeah, this is the part I was talking about before that I'm really excited about, because the person, I'll just say this now, the person that Zoe likes is a girl! And yeah, and some people are getting their ships confirmed. Well, at least on one end, that it's a one-sided crush, but they end things as friends. Spoilers. That's like, oh, not like this entire video spoilers. But, yeah, so Marinette tries to encourage her, is like, well, you should still tell the person how you feel, and, maybe things could work out, 'cause she kind of suggests that maybe it could be a polyamorous relationship. And it's like, you know, a person could be in love with one person, two people, or even no one at all. And it's like, girl, are you suggesting that Zoe should be in a polyamorous relationship with her crush and the person her crush is in a relationship with? Girl. Like, yeah, no shame for relationships that are like that, as long as both parties are consenting, and that it's not an excuse on one person's end to cheat, because that does happen a lot. I'm not saying that that's all polyamorous relationships, but it does happen, and there are polyamorous relationships that are healthy. So I just want to put that out there, that I'm not judging the lifestyle. If that is a relationship that you are in and you and your partners are all happy, hey, all the power to you. It is your life and you should live it how you want. But at the same time, Marinette probably shouldn't be suggesting that without knowing who the other person is, well, who the other people are, and if they would even be okay with having a poly relationship. Like, she doesn't actually say poly, but she does kind of drop it in there as, oh, it could be, a relationship could be two people. Or it could be more than two people. It's like, yeah, I don't think they really thought that one through. Yeah, so Zoe says she'll think about it. And then Marinette, I gotta call you out for this. She calls up Alia and they start talking about the dance. And then Marinette reveals a secret that is not hers to reveal. And that is the fact that Zoe has a crush on a 9th grader. That is not your secret to reveal. You had no right to tell Alia that. Yes, she is your best friend, and yes, she is friends with Zoe, but if Zoe wanted Alia to know that, she would have told Alia. Instead, she told you, and you blabbing someone else's secret is not okay. I just wanted to say that. But yeah, she's talking to Alia, and then she sees Zoe using an alliance, and she has Adrian set as her alliance navigator. And I guess I could see why Marinette would jump to this conclusion, because I was seeing a lot of people on Twitter jumping to this conclusion as well, that Zoe must have a crush on Adrian, because the trailer, we got Zoe looking dejected, and then we got that image of Zoe looking at Marinette's poster of all of the pictures of Adrian. But it's not Adrian. I already said it's a girl, it's not Adrian, but she makes the assumption that it's Adrian, and then gets all awkward because she's now assuming that Zoe is actually in love with her boyfriend, and she's like trying to be supportive of this whole idea of, yeah, you can like Adrian if you want. It's like, yeah, I mean, we're technically together, but it's not like I own him or anything. It's not like he's mine. I mean, technically he's mine, but he's not. I don't actually own him or anything. It's like, and also before anyone says that her saying that line of, I mean, technically he's mine, that is not her claiming to own Adrian, so please nobody say that. That's just flustered Marinette being flustered and not really thinking about the words that she's saying in the moment. She doesn't actually feel like she has ownership over him, which is part of the reason why she's trying to say, no, I don't own him, so hey, if you think of Adrian that way, all the power to you. But she doesn't actually say it like that, so Zoe gets kind of confused. So they wind up going to get all the stuff for the dance, and I have to say I really loved the helmet that she hands Zoe, because it's got a kitty section sticker on it. It's like, yay, kitty section! But they go around and they start talking to people about stuff that they might be able to donate to the dance, and Vanisher follows them and starts touching everything with her whistle, which is essentially acting as her fetch ball, because she doesn't actually have the weapon because she's not wearing the Miraculous itself. Monarch's just transferring the powers to her. But her whistle essentially acts as her fetch ball in this situation. So she touches a bunch of stuff, and so that she can But while Marinette is talking with everyone up at the Eiffel Tower, not just, the students that are involved, but also the business owners that have agreed to contribute to the dance, they're all meeting on top of the Eiffel Tower when Vanisher goes in and sneaks all of her items, or all of the stolen items, into Marinette's bag, which she steals using Fetch. She does it like that so that the items aren't getting stolen in that moment when Marinette is there. They're getting stolen right in the moment at the Eiffel Tower where they're all meeting there, so that nobody notices the stolen items. But she uses Fetch to bring all of those stolen items to herself, and then puts them all in Marinette's bag, so that Zoe can come along and start accusing Marinette of stealing her phone, because she also she also used Fetch on Chloe's phone as well, which she then uses to dump out everything from Marinette's bag to start being like, look, she stole from me and she stole from all these other people, and here's her notebook with the dress that she's working on. She stole all this stuff so she could work on her dress. And Marinette's like, Marinette tries to defend herself, and she's like, what would I even want with your phone anyways? And she's like, she obviously wanted to melt it down to make gaudy jewelry for her dress. It's like, wow. But everybody does start to believe Chloe because the evidence was right there in Marinette's bag. But then Zoe steps in and is like, actually, Marinette's innocent. I stole this stuff because I wanted Marinette to have everything she needed for her dress. She didn't actually steal any of the stuff, but she's trying to give Marinette an out because she doesn't want anything to happen to Marinette, which Marinette does talk to her later about that and tells her, well, the thought is appreciated, but, please don't do this again. Which I just wanted to address that now so that nobody's trying to accuse Marinette of that, because I don't like when people accuse Marinette of stuff she's not guilty of. Call her out for the stuff she needs to be called out on, but don't make stuff up just to make her look worse than she is. That's not how you draw attention to the actual issues with the writing in the show. Regardless, okay, so back to this. Marinette tries to defend herself. I was just waiting for Adrian to say something about this, and it's like, Adrian, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you say anything to defend your girlfriend? She's not like this. But then, she, Marinette even is like, it was probably just some invisible supervillain. Chloe's like, what supervillain would want to steal stuff and give them to you? But when Zoe distracts everyone with, actually, I stole all this stuff because I wanted to help Marinette, Marinette manages to see Vanisher, because some of the paper flowers that were stolen, they fly away in the wind, and some of them cling to Vanisher's clothing. So she sees that and is like, it is Vanisher. So she sneaks off, and Tiki tells her, because Tiki was hiding in Marinette's bag, and is like, yeah, it was an invisible supervillain. She's like, yeah, I know. I saw her. It's Vanisher. So she transforms into Ladybug and is like, that girl, as in Zoe, is innocent. The real culprit is Vanisher. And then she starts fighting Vanisher, which gets Adrian's attention. He's like, oh, I need to sneak off to go help my lady. And before Ladybug appeared, she even sent Cat Noir a message. It's like, hey, there's an invisible villain at the Eiffel Tower. So he uses that as his excuse. It's like, hey, I got your message. So they fight Vanisher, and this part is actually very short and quick, but there is a lot to get through in this episode, so I could definitely see why the fight is as short as it is, because this is a very packed episode. It kind of reminds me of season 1, honestly, where everything was kind of rushed, but at least in this episode, I can definitely see why they had to rush through, because they had so much to go through. She also used her lucky charm before this to get a piñata, which is basically just filled with confetti. And they actually remembered the damage done to it too, because she grabs a can of hairspray from her bag and gives that to. Oh no, she tells Chat Noir to grab the can of hairspray. And they're planning everything off screen. So she fights Vanisher. She throws the oh no, instead of fighting Vanisher, he's fighting Vanisher. And meanwhile, she after she sees that he gets the can of hairspray, she throws the piñata. He breaks it with a stick. Or no, she breaks it with her yo-yo. Sorry, but yeah, she breaks it with her yo-yo, and confetti starts raining down. And then that's when Chat Noir sprays Vanisher with hairspray so that the confetti will stick to her, and they can actually see her to fight her. Then Ladybug is like, hey, the whistle, get the whistle. They get the whistle, they break it, they de-akumatize Sabrina, and I really like the detail on the magical charm that Ladybug gives to Sabrina, because the colors always match the akumatized person, but Vanisher is invisible. However, we did see earlier in the episode when she approached Lila and Chloe that she was able to make herself visible and she had a pinkish hue. So the magical charm had a pinkish hue, but it was also clear. You can see the detailing of Ladybug's costume through the charm itself. So I thought that was really cool that they made it clear like that. And it does have the pinkish hue too, like Vanisher did when she made herself visible for that little bit. And then Ladybug, you know, steps in afterwards and is like, no, this girl, referring to Zoe, is innocent. This was all set up by Chloe. And everybody looks at Chloe all angry, and she's like, hmm. And it's like, yeah. And of course, everybody except Andre is looking at her angry. Andre looks disappointed, which, you know, makes sense. Like, yeah, this is like, your daughter pressured her friend to break the law. You're the mayor of Paris, and your daughter is pressuring people to break the law, which is illegal on its own. Or at the very least, it's illegal. Again, I don't know about French law, but yeah. Coercing someone to commit a crime is also a crime. Then afterwards, you know, we get to see Zoe and Marinette talking, and Marinette tells Zoe, look, I appreciate what you did, but please don't ever sacrifice yourself for me or anyone else. And it's like, yes, thank you for addressing that it was wrong. I actually had an experience like this very recently on Twitter, where somebody was, I'm not going to get into what all the situation was, but essentially there was a discussion that got really heated, and somebody who follows me stepped in, and while they were trying to defend me, they used a racial slur that, I'm gonna be honest, I'd never heard that word used as a slur before, so I didn't recognize the fact that it was a slur until somebody pointed it out to me, which I did correct. You know, I initially told them, hey, you know, I appreciate you trying to defend me, but please don't insult them. You know, let's try to keep things civil. That was before I knew it was a slur, and then after I found out it was a slur, I did respond to them afterwards with a separate response like, hey, it's been brought to my attention that this was a slur, and that is not okay. I just want to bring that up now, that even if you are, if you believe that you are defending somebody, doing something like that, whether it's hurting yourself or hurting somebody else, is never okay. I just wanted to say that really quick. I'm sorry for getting serious, but that's something that's been happening recently, and I just wanted to say that. If you see somebody is saying something negative about me, regardless of the situation, if you feel like defending me, if they're calling out me personally and saying that I personally am a bad person, you're trying to defend me, I very much appreciate you defending me. But if you do so by using racial slurs, homophobic slurs, any kind of slur, or by insulting them, even if you're not insulting them, please understand that that is not something that I condone regardless, because using that as a defense for anybody doesn't prove your point. Sorry, I just wanted to say that. I apologize. This video's already too long as it is, but I just felt like that was important to say. But anyways, back to the episode. So Marinette tells her, don't sacrifice yourself because of me, but also don't sacrifice your feelings for the person you like because of me. And she's like, I know you like Adrian, and, if you like Adrian, you should tell him how you feel, because, like, yeah, I appreciate that you're holding back for my sake, but, you should express your own feelings. And Zoe's, like, all confused. It's like, but I don't have a crush on Adrian. And Marinette's like, oh, but then who do you have a crush on? And Zoe just sort of looks at her, and is with this look, it's like, she doesn't actually say it, but she gives her the look that says, it's you. And it's like, yes, 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 yes. We need more queer representation in this series. And honestly, I love this. As somebody who has seen the accusations that, quote, and keep in mind, I am quoting the accusations of homophobics. This is not my personal belief. But as somebody who has seen the accusations of homophobics saying that people who are gay will, they'll force their feelings on people who aren't gay, or try to turn you gay, or do other things that I can't talk about on YouTube, especially since this is a family-friendly channel, seeing stuff like this basically proves them wrong. Like, yes, this is a fictional series, but this does happen where people, it doesn't even matter what your sexuality is, where people will have a crush on somebody, but that person is already in a relationship with somebody, and they'll hold back, or like they'll confess to that person, and that person is like, yeah, I'm flattered, but I am already in this other relationship and I don't return your feelings. But that doesn't mean that that person is going to try to force those feelings onto them. It's just, yeah, I'm getting this off my chest, just like any hetero person would. You're getting these feelings off of your chest. It's perfectly healthy to get those feelings off of your chest and let the person know how you feel, regardless of what either of your genders are or sexualities. It's still there's still nothing wrong with it, and I'm so glad that they addressed it this way, with Marinette, basically saying, I do appreciate your feelings, and she gives her a hug and is like, and shows her that even though she now knows that Zoe has feelings for her, things are not going to be awkward between them, because they're still good friends, and she still values Zoe as a friend. And I just thought that was really great how they handled it. It's like, Zoe is a girl who has a crush on somebody who's in another relationship. And it's great that we got to see that as a homosexual couple as well. I do kind of wish we would get like an actual canon homosexual couple and not just a homosexual confession. So I will say that, but this is still I still see this as a step in the right direction. So I'm really glad that we got this scene. Feel free to let me know if you feel like I'm wrong, but I think they handled this very well, with it not being like, ew, why do you like me, or anything like that. It's like, I'm glad that they handled this very respectfully. It's like, yeah, she does have every reason to have a crush on Marinette too. Because, like, yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be people like, oh yeah, there's another character who has a crush on Marinette. It's like, yeah, well, I could definitely see why Zoe has a crush on Marinette, because Marinette stood up for her and gave her the courage that she needed to stand up for herself. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty standard in media, especially for, it's like, oh yeah, I'm in love with, it's like, oh yeah, this person gives me so much strength, and that's part of the reason why I love them. It's like, yeah, that's very, it's very common, and it's also very realistic too, because like, you should be with someone who lifts you up and tells you your worth and how much you're worth. Like, if somebody's constantly tearing you down like Chloe, they're not worth it. But if somebody lifts you up the way Marinette does, that is somebody who is worth it. So I just wanted to address, I'm addressing a lot of stuff, sorry. But yeah, they hug, and Zoe is, feeling much better now because she sees that it's not going to ruin their friendship. And then she tells she tells Marinette, I gained the courage to tell you how I felt. Now, when are you going to tell Adrian how you feel? And she actually convinces Marinette to go tell Adrian right now. And this is where things get sweet, but then they take a turn. So Marinette runs over to Adrian's house to talk to him, and she just lays it all out. This isn't the magical moment that I envisioned, but it feels right to tell you this now. Adrian, I love you. And he's obviously, very happy to hear her finally say that, and they embrace, and they're about to kiss, and then Gabriel friggin' aggressed. Oh, this. Whew. So, we see this very creepy image, like everything is dark, and then Gabriel just comes out from the darkness and says, Adrian, no. And then Adrian, just as he's about to kiss Marinette, stops and says, I feel really weird for some reason. They confirmed it, you guys. Adrian is a sentient being. And the feather is in the rings. After he tells Adrian no, he's not even right there. He's in the house watching through the window. And after he tells Adrian no, we see him mess with his ring under his glove. Which also confirms that in the previous episode, when Gabriel told Adrian not to be with Marinette, and then Natalie told him afterwards that he should follow his heart. If he wants to be with Marinette, then he should do so. And then he got mad at her for giving Adrian a counter order. And then Natalie's like, you can't control him like this. It's not right. You need to let Adrian live his life how he wants to. Yeah. So, yeah. We got confirmation now that Adrian is in fact a sentient being. And I do want to say that I think I said this in a previous review before as well, that I was trying to debunk the theories who even would have made the others if they were all sentient beings. And I've thought about it more, and I do think that it is very likely that all three of them, Adrian, Felix, and Kagami, might be sentient beings. Due to the fact that I think that Tomoe, I've seen some people say that it was Emily making Adrian that broke the miraculous. I do think it makes more sense for that to have been when it was dropped in the volcano that it broke. But if that theory is accurate, it would make sense if Tomoe made Kagami first. And then if creating sentient humans breaks the miraculous more, then if Tomoe made Kagami, then that breaking the miraculous could cause her blindness. And then if Felix's father, Colt, would have been the ones who make Felix, if that was the case, then that would explain why he passed away not long after Emily did. Because when we first meet him in the episode Felix, we find out that, Adrian wasn't able to go to Colt's funeral, so he could be there for Felix. And so we actually do know that Colt passed away sometime between that episode and the start of the season, because it was they make it sound like it was very recent, but they do talk about that, and I think that is the case. So Tomoe made Kagami first, and then I think Colt might have made Felix second, which would be why he lived a bit longer than Emily, and then Emily made Adrian afterwards. Which, if the theory about making the sentient beings is what broke the miraculous is true, then that would explain why Tomoe's injury caused by the miraculous is less than Emily's and Colt's, who actually died using it. That would also explain why why Felix has an issue with his own father, because of the fact that, you know, Colt probably did abuse his power over Felix, because he would have control over Felix. And that would also explain why he was so desperate to get the rings back, because he seems to know, because we've seen in other episodes that he like talks to sentient monsters and, you know, feels bad about creating them because he's just going to destroy them later on. He feels bad about that, which would make sense if he is a sentient being. Oh, but if Adrian is the only sentient being among the three, then that also still makes sense because for Felix's motivations, because he's just trying to save Adrian from his controlling father. But it does also raise the question as to why Gabriel never used his authority over Adrian in the past, like keeping Adrian inside and stuff. But this could also be why Emily might have been okay with Adrian staying inside. Very possible that's because Adrian is not human. Maybe she just didn't want that to come out if he went outside, but regardless. So yeah, that's all just stuff to theorize about, because we still have a while before the season finale comes out, although I think I did see on Twitter before that they've wrapped up recording the season, so hopefully we'll be getting more soon. We are supposed to be getting some episodes next month. We're supposed to be getting 2 episodes on April 16th. That is going to be a fun weekend for me, because the 15th I'm going to Grand Rapids Comic-Con with my dad, and then on the 16th I've got plans to go see the new Mario movie with my big brother, who was a lot bigger into Mario than I was as a kid, so that's why I asked him, and I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. But, yeah. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and end this here for now, because this video is already very long. So, feel free to leave a comment down below what you think about Adrian being confirmed to be a sentient being. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos from me. We do all sorts of fun stuff on this channel, including playing video games, we do art, and also sometimes talk about cartoons and anime. So if you enjoy this stuff, then be sure to ring that bell icon and never miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I hope you all have a very magical day.